Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we begin a new book, the book of Deuteronomy. And Deuteronomy just basically means second law or repetition of the law. And it's basically Moses retelling the law to the people before they enter into the land. If you remember, a whole generation had died there in the wilderness and a new generation had rose up again, and they needed to hear the law. They needed to be reminded of the law so that it could be on their minds and their hearts as they enter into the promised land. But I really love the way Moses went about doing it. He doesn't just start off spouting off a bunch of commandments and rules and laws to them. First, as we see in our reading today, first he starts out by giving a history of where it is that they came from, what they experienced while in the wilderness. Basically to impress on their hearts the faithfulness of God, the fact that God had been faithful to them as they encountered various trials, as they come up against Og and Sihon and these different cities that they overtook, just showing that God was faithful to them and impressing that on their minds before getting into the law, what you shall do and what you shall not do. And I think that's very wise because it's the faithfulness of God that motivates us to obedience. Now, I will say that just the fact that God is God and he has the right to make the rules, that's enough motivation to obey him, right? Just because of who he is. But when you stack on top of that his faithfulness, it's even more motivation to want to follow him. And that should be our motivation, or at least part of our motivation to serving the Lord even today. As we think about how faithful he's been, and we can think all the way back to the cross. The cross really shows the faithfulness of God. What he had promised for thousands of years, even though it was going to mean him giving up his beloved son, even though it meant giving up the greatest gift he could ever give. He still followed through and he was still faithful to what he had said. And so we can look to the cross and see the faithfulness of God. He was faithful to humanity in general. He was faithful to Israel specifically, but just really showing his faithfulness. And when we think about that, and when we think about what he's done through the cross, we could say, you know what? He's worthy of our obedience. He's worthy of our allegiance. Not just simply because he is God, although that's enough, but also because of his faithfulness. And then we can look in our own lives how he's been faithful to us. The many times we've come to him in prayer, seeking help, seeking guidance. And even though he may not have answered our prayers exactly the way that we thought they should be answered, still, as we look back, we realize, hey, the way that things worked out was for the best, and that he had been faithful to us. And even if we don't see that now, one day we will, whether in this life or in the life to come. God is faithful, and his faithfulness is motivation to us to serve him, to love him, to be committed to him, to do whatever he asks of us, to be faithful to him because he's been faithful to us, is what it boils down to. So let's be appreciative of the faithfulness of God, especially as we go to church and we sing hymns about the faithfulness of God and worshiping him and what a wonderful God he is. Let's use that as a means to, I guess, recommit ourselves to being faithful to him, committed to his cause. So let's do that today. I do thank you guys for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.